sector employers committed to providing opportunities for people who have been historically excluded from jobs that offer career advancement, including those individuals who have been formerly incarcerated. Commission members have agreed to voluntarily refrain from criminal record inquiries until a conditional offer of employment is extended, refrain from asking job applicants about their credit history, and actively work to develop recruitment and policies for populations that have been historically unemployed, including those with criminal records.
And to give people those entry-level jobs on the way up on the ladder, whether it's that cleaning the floor and the toilets that eventually allows you to train solar installers, or whether it's here, somebody who can help us by fixing sidewalks and one day get a city pension and a middle-class job. It's an unprecedented opportunity.
The Los Angeles Department of Water and Power recently joined officials to celebrate the grand opening and ribbon cutting of the Owens Lake Trails, which officials say aim to enhance public access, recreation, and wildlife habitat at Owens Lake while educating visitors about LADWP's dust control efforts on the lake bed. The Owens Lake Trails features 3 trail areas with a total of 4 miles of walking paths, overlook areas, and land art installations. The effort is part of LADWP's Owens Lake Dust Mitigation Program, initiated in 2001. It has mitigated 96% of dust emissions from Owens Lake to date, according to officials. Complete mitigation is expected by 2017. Well, it's out with the old and in with the new, as a new program is helping residents not only cut their energy use, but save some money, too. Rich Samuels has more.
It's new, good size, quieter. It's clean, brand new. I like it.
James Sebastian is happy about his brand new refrigerator, one of 177 new energy-efficient units, recently provided free of charge to residents at Fame Corporation's low-income housing.
This will help low-income families to save at least $60 annually on their utility bills.
The opportunity to create greener, more environmentally friendly apartment complexes grew out of Fame's involvement in LADWP's Community Partnership Program, which provides education on reducing energy and water usage to residents of the 8th Council District.
What's so fantastic about this program is LADWP is really reaching out to low-income communities to be part of the conservation effort, but simultaneously they're helping those low-income individuals improve their quality of life and receive benefit from the community.
The LADWP's Refrigerator Exchange Program partnered with ARCA, the Appliance Recycling Centers of America, to complete the replacement process. This is Rich Samuels for LA This Week.
The new energy-efficient refrigerators use half as much electricity as older models. Well, a 5K run that'll have you covered in all the colors of the rainbow. Tour a legendary music studio as it opens its doors to the public for the first time in 6 decades. And a day of music and games that's perfect for the whole family. All this in this week's Things to Do. Also known as the happiest 5K on the planet and the most colorful event this May, the Color Run in Los Angeles is taking place on Saturday, May 21st. The Color Run partners with a charity event at each location, and in Los Angeles, they are working with Back on My Feet, a nonprofit that uses running to help the homeless in changing their lives, and Children's Hospital Los Angeles. So get your old white t-shirt ready and don't miss your chance to get covered in orange, pink, blue, and yellow paint on this exciting 5K run. What better way to give back and have fun? The event starts at Dodger Stadium on Saturday, May 21st. For more, visit thecolorrun.com. If you're into music production and have ever wondered how Capitol Studios, which has hosted recording artists such as Frank Sinatra to the Beastie Boys, makes its magic, wonder no more. Created in 1956 and for the first time in 60 years, Capitol Studios is opening their doors to the public. This is a chance to hear stories and witness the place where many recording artists who have created your favorite tunes made their music. Tours will be held in the studio, and there will also be a vinyl fair Saturday, May 21st. For more information, visit capitolstudios.com. Calling all Southern California moms, here's an event that is fun for the whole family. The 3rd annual Great Big Family Play Day in Los Angeles only happens once a year and features a day full of face painting, games, crafts, and event meet and greets with your children's favorite characters. Grammy-nominated singer and songwriter Lisa Loeb will be performing in a nursery rhyme parade, and the day will also include hula hoop dancers and a number of performances. You won't want to miss this day full of music and family fun on Sunday, May 22nd at the Autry Museum of American West. The event starts at 9:30 a.m. and closes at 4. For details, visit GreatBigFamilyPlayday.com. And that's a look at some things to do. Well, that's going to do it for this edition. I'm Yana Kane from all of us here at LA This Week. Thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
What if a disaster strikes without warning? What if life as you know it has completely turned on its head? What if everything familiar becomes anything but? Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed today.
Don't worry, Patty. This isn't going to hurt me one bit. Hi, I'm Dr. Eric Shapiro in beautiful Encino, and you're watching LA City View, Channel 35. Our city, our channel. Open wide.
members. Good morning, good morning. It is Friday, May 20th.
I'm gonna watch that video as soon as I get back.
Shh. Friday, May 20th. Welcome to your Los Angeles City Council. This council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. Madam Clerk, we do have a quorum. Could you please call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Harris Dawson, Weezar, Koretz, Krikorian, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rue, Wesson. 12 members and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you. First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Rue moves and Harris Dawson seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Ms. Martinez moves and Mr. Englander seconds. That brings us where? Well, let's go through the agenda.
Mr. President, there is a request to continue 1B to June 8th, 2016 and 1A to July 1st, 2016.
Okay, so without objection, that'll be the order.
Item number 1 is an item notice for public hearing.
Do we have cards?
Yes, Mr. President.
Okay, then let's continue.
Items 2 through 4 are items for which public hearings have been held.
Specials, members, let's prepare to vote on these items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, that brings us where now?
Mr. President, items 5 through 10 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, that item is now before this body. Those items are before this body. Mr. Fuentes.
5 special, please.
5 special. Do we have cards?
Yes, Mr. President. There are cards on all items 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Okay. Okay, so that brings us to what, presentations or to actually deal with various items. So I'm going to recognize Mr. O'Farrell quickly.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. Colleagues, I want to welcome Larchmont Charter School 5th grade class. Please stand up so we can see you on the television.
Yay!
Wow, there you go. Larchmont Charter School in the Great 13th District. They'll be taking a tour of City Hall. The 5th grade class is led by Candace Allen and Anthony Bates. We have joining us today is teacher assistant Kelly Thomas and parents Mike Sarner, DJ Kami, and Zoe Marcus. Larchmont Charter School students are taught to foster creativity and academic excellence. They learn with and from each other in an experience-centered, inquiry-based learning environment. They're currently learning about the creation of the U.S. government. And here we are 240 years later after the Declaration of Independence, and they're going to learn how we're still fine-tuning our way of government, but it's the best one on the planet Earth and the best government that has ever existed on this planet. So enjoy your learning. It's a great history. We're all still learning it, and we're still building our history. Welcome and thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Huizar.
I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome to these chambers members of the Social Justice Leadership Academy from Torres High School in unincorporated East LA. If you could stand, where are you guys? Back there. Welcome to Los Angeles City Hall chambers. They are here learning about city government. This is one of many of the new schools that were built recently, and they are known as the Toros, right? Toros? Go Toros. Welcome to Los Angeles City Hall. Welcome. I was looking at you to see if you knew.
Mr. Fuentes.
Mr. President, thank you. Since we're making acknowledgments here, I wanted to recognize, not to be outdone, Mr. Huizar, that we're joined today by Sylmar High School's Spartans Associated Student Body. Please stand. Colleagues, these dedicated students obviously promote school spirit, academic achievement, and are real stewards to the community of Sylmar. But in particular, I wanted to recognize Junior Class President Naomi Riley. Wave, Naomi. Give her a big round of applause. She was chosen to be part of the Los Angeles Unified School District's Student Advisory Council, Mr. Huizar, and as a former school board member, you know how important that is. These are student leaders. They're here with us to audit, to make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. Welcome, Spartans.
Mr. Weston, are you ready for your presentation? I see you brought a friend.
Yes, I did. Thank you, Madam President and members. Today is always a good day for me. It's Pet Adoption Friday, Dog Adoption Friday, and I boast of the fact that we have a 100% adoption rate here in the city of Los Angeles, and I boast about the fact that the lion's share of the dogs that we get adopted are adopted by people that are here in the council chambers and by other city employees that are listening on radio, computer, watching us on television. But what we have today, come on, well, first of all, Arlene, who's been with us for so many years, one of our great staff members at Animal Services, did a very, very special favor for me. Last Friday, I was receiving frantic telephone calls from my cousin who had found a dog, and she loved him. She said he was skinny as a rail. He was obviously homeless, but it was about almost 5 o'clock, and she didn't want to send him to the shelter because she was so worried. She wanted to make sure that this dog was adopted. So we called Arlene, and my cousin kept the dog over the weekend. We got him to the shelter on Monday, and I promised my cousin that come heck or high water, that we would find a home for Henry. You're calling him Henry. Henry is what is Henry, Arlene?
A Boston Terrier Chihuahua mix.
And as you can see, he's got just a unique look about him and a unique personality about him, and he's still rather thin, so he's looking for a home and he's looking for love. So I want to ask anyone that can hear my voice or anyone that can see Henry on television, or to our guests that are with us today in the gallery here, let's save a life, give Henry a chance, give him a loving family, and I promise you that he will, in return, give you unconditional love. Now, Arlene is going to be with us for a while today, so that if you want to come up and get to know Henry, pet him, maybe take a photograph and send it back to your mom or dad or your significant other. But I am really pleading with my city family folk to help me keep a promise that I made to my cousin Anita, who has been worried about this animal for a week. She would take him herself, but she already has all of the dogs that she can handle. So, folks, look at that face. He does have character, I will. So, and Arlene told me that he likes to cuddle.
Mm-hmm. Very sweet.
So, please, whenever you adopt one of our animals, dog, cat, rabbit, or what have you, you are literally saving a life. We try to get all of the animals adopted, but that is just at this stage impossible. So help me help Henry find a home, and let's save a life. Start off your weekend by adopting a very special friend. So, Madam President and members, thank you for affording me the opportunity to try to find Henry a home at the beginning of today's council meeting. And let's keep our 100% adoption rate alive and well. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. And good luck, Henry. I heard Mr. Harris Dawson is interested. Mr. Blumenfeld, are you ready, sir?
Madam President, members, I've got two sets of champions I'm bringing up today. The 3rd District has had some real champions. So first I want to bring up the Canoga Park boys soccer team. Come on up, guys. Let's gather around, get the principal up here.
Coach Gwen.
Coach.
And Coach Gwen.
It is my honor to recognize the Canoga Park High School boys soccer team. Now, in 2003, Canoga Park soccer program had a 1-13-2 record. You know, you don't always have to win, but you tried hard, and that's great. But the following year, with the same players, Canoga Park High School made a remarkable turnaround, capturing its first CIF title with a record of 19-1-2. The program is a testament to the idea that if you work hard enough, you can achieve great things. This program had to start from the bottom, and now they are on the very top. At this school and this team have stayed on the top. Over the past 12 years, Canoga Park boys soccer has captured 6 CIF titles. That's impressive. And during the past 2 seasons, they've won back-to-back CIF Division III CIF titles and have also made it to the state semifinals both years. This current graduating class is led by the all-time greatest scorer in CIF LA city history, Ezekiel Quijada. Ezekiel, where are you? This guy, all-time greatest scorer in CIF LA history. That's pretty impressive. Ezekiel was named LA City Section Player of the Year, and the Daily News also named him the All-Area Player of the Year. Congratulations are in order for Ezekiel and the entire Canoga Park High School boys soccer team. I'm not going to name all of you right now. We'll do pictures in the back, but we've got some cool trophies here. I've got a great certificate here, and if the coach or the principal want to say something, or Ezekiel, if you want to say something.
Want to say anything? No?
Ezekiel, no? All right.
All right.
On behalf of the residents of Canoga Park and the family that is Canoga Park High School, I want to thank you for this special honor. This team personifies what student athletes are all about and what athletics can do and accomplish in a high school setting. That's teaching teamwork and resilience, and this team personifies that. They came behind in the city title game to deliver our 4th city championship in a row. I want to give special thanks to Coach Gwynn. I believe that he was named the Coach of the Decade from 2000 to 2010, and at this rate, he could very well be named the Coach of the Century. So it's an honor to work with Coach Gwynn. Lastly, to our council member, he is a staunch supporter and has attended our playoff games and is visible at many of our events. We can't ask for anything more. So thank you to Council Member Bloomingfield.
Get a picture here. Let's get the photographer. Jenny's going to take a shot. If you follow her, we're going to go in the back for some pictures in a minute.
Good job.
Oh, really? Got to put that in, making that announcement? Our great principal and Felipe Fuentes went to the same high school together.
Go San Fernando High School Tigers.
I have another set of champions I want to bring up. Let's bring up Taft High School girls soccer. Some parents and cheerleaders in the back. All right, gather around. Come on up. Coach, want to come on up? All right. Good morning, council members. It is my honor to recognize the William Taft Charter High School girls soccer team. The Taft girls soccer team has made a steady climb to the top. In the 2013-2014 season, this team made it to the quarterfinals. The following season, they made it to the semifinals, where they lost to El Camino. But during the most recent 2015-2016 season, Taft High School was the West Valley League champions. Their record was 7 wins, 0 losses, and 3 ties. It was enough to give them the title for the first time in the school's history. The Taft girls then went off to compete in the Division I CIF playoffs. Their first game was against San Fernando High School, and whom they defeated 5-0. Then they went off to play Granada Hills, where they won 4-1. In the semifinals, they defeated San Pedro 2-1. Sorry, colleagues, but these guys are the champions. We just mentioned all the high schools in their area, but that's okay. In the championship game, Taft played against El Camino, who had ended their playoff run last year. Avenging last year's tough loss, Taft defeated El Camino and were crowned as the Division I champions, the first championship in the program's history. And Jennifer Valise was named the West Valley League Player of the Year. Jennifer, where are you? Jennifer, come on up. As I understand it, you were not only the West Valley League Player of the Year, but you were also the LA City Section Player of the Year. Pretty impressive. Coach Walter Escobar was named the All-Area and West Valley League Coach of the Year. Coach Escobar. So congratulations once again to the Taft Charter High School girls team. You guys deserve it. I've got this giant certificate for you as well. And if the principal or the coach want to say a few words. Principal.
We would just like to, on behalf of Taft High School family, I would like to thank the City of Los Angeles and the council for recognizing us today. These girls had an amazing year, and with every great team, there is a great coach, and that's Coach Walter Escobar. He did an amazing job with these girls, not only on the field, but off the field in their academics. This is the highest achieving team as far as academics that we have at our school right now. So maintaining high academic achievement while winning a city championship is something to be recognized, and I appreciate the recognition today. Thank you so much.
All right, let's hear it for the Taft High School girls soccer team. We'll do a little photo. Oh. You want to give this to me? You want to say something on the mic about it?
Yeah. Sure. Okay. We just want to thank you guys so much for your support by giving you some T-shirts. So,
Awesome.
That's all I got.
Check it out. Very cool. Love it. All right, let's take a photo.
And Nelly
and then
has the flag.
And we'll go to the back and do a photo in a minute too. But,
Give it to Mickey. Mickey, hold it. Someone's touching my phone.
Wait, Goose.
what's that? Oh, okay. All right, so we're going to go to the back, and I want to also give a big shout out to the parents who came here to cheer on their soccer team. Thank you, parents, and we can all go to the back and take some photos, and the parents can come as well.
Thank you very much.
Hi guys, I'm on TV.
Mr. Englander. Mr. Englander.
Can't compete with that in the back room. All right. So, colleagues, you know, I often will bring, when they're deserving, a local community hero to show as an example of what we can do, that we're all in this together, and that we often put out a campaign message, a PSA. We tell folks, if you see something, say something. But what about if you see something, do something? What that can do and make a difference. Far too often, we see what happens with children. Children that are stressed out, children that, and youth and teenagers that run away from home because of bullying and other issues. Well, that was just the case here in the San Fernando Valley. In fact, you all know the story, and it was very recent. Dana Van Dyke, who was born and raised in the San Fernando Valley, currently lives in Granada Hills. She has a 15-year-old daughter, Amber. In fact, Amber goes to school with my daughter. We'll have to find out if they know each other. Okay. There's 4,500 kids at Granada Hills Charter High School. But in any event, joined today by her parents, Andy and Kim. Dana and her daughter are both members of Shepherd of the Hills Church and attend Life Group for adults and teenage children. And she's worked in the mortgage industry for 21 years, currently holds her real estate license, the Olson Agency in Northridge. So, typical Angelino, busy with her own family, working mom, has a lot on her plate, but taking the time out of her life to, if you see something, do something. She's a community hero because she was watching the local news just recently, as we all were. And there was a broadcast, and she was with her 92-year-old mother, or grandmother, yeah, sorry, aging you there. Dana saw the report of a local missing girl that ran away from being bullied from school. And on Monday, May 2nd, on her way to meet a client for work, she saw a young girl sitting at a bus stop by herself, matching the description. Anybody, think about this, could have stopped. Everybody saw the news. Everyone knew that this girl was vulnerable, scared, had left home, and was sitting at a bus stop by herself. Once Dana confirmed and pulled over and stopped, and I believe, if I recall, you pulled it up on your cell phone, looked at the media reports to see the picture and said, oh wait, that looks familiar, she looks familiar, to verify, yep, in fact, that's her. So she stopped. She called 911. She approached the girl to call her parents and let them know she was okay. They sat together till police arrived. I first want to commend Dana for her service to the community, her quick action, her intervention, her lending a hand, her keeping her eyes and ears open, to pay attention about her surroundings, to have compassion. Because we all know far too often, we're sitting at this podium offering a reward motion because of something that happened. Far too often, we're trying to fall asleep, we've got the TV on in bed, it's late at night, and the news flash comes up of a runaway not found, of remains found. Often and far too often, these stories, we know what happens at the end. The fact that somebody stopped, thinking consciously that she too has a girl of similar age, to do something, to save Lizzie's life, to call into action, to stand up against bullying. I'm incredibly grateful, both as a father and just someone who far too often sees not enough people doing something or saying something or acting on something. And so Dana Van Dyke is our community hero today for Los Angeles. So I wanted to thank you so much for all of that. With that, we are also joined by our finest, LAPD and Captain Brian Liam, and I want to thank you very much as well. Really, truly appreciate it. And Dana, if you would, say a few words.
Let's give her another round of applause. Thank you. Before you speak, I just want to say this. We all have watched, and I had the pleasure to meet you and your family earlier. We've all watched, and I can't remember the name of the program, but it comes on regular, and it shows uncomfortable situations, but they're trying to film how people react when they see other people that are in distress or having difficulty. And it really saddens us when you watch so many people just walk past and do nothing. And you did just the opposite. So all I can say is that you're one of the good ones, and we need more people like you, and we appreciate, and I'm sure the young girl appreciates that, what you've done for her. Let's give her another round of applause. You're very special.
Thank you.
A very special person.
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone here, to Mitchell. Thank you. And LAPD, and my parents, because they're the ones who brought me up and made me the person that I am. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, on behalf of the 4 million Angelenos that we all represent, we want to thank and give this certificate of commendation to Dana Lynn Van Dyke. And thank you very much, our community hero.
Mr. Fuentes.
Let's all squeeze together.
Squeeze in here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next presentation is Mr. Fuentes. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, colleagues. I am honored to have with me Angelica Bolaños. She is the first female wrestler at Sylmar High School to receive the 2016 City Championship title. Please give her a round of applause. Colleagues, on February 19th and 20th, Sylmar High School boys and girls wrestling teams participated in the 2016 CIF Los Angeles City Championships. Athletes from over 30 high schools competed in this very difficult match, and they were all competing for the same title. But Angelica, with the support of her teammates, succeeded in bringing home the title after a tough match against a wrestler from Birmingham High School. I believe that might be in Mr. Blumenfield's district, so there we go, colleagues. We got him back. Angelica, along with her female wrestling teammates, face a unique set of challenges, as oftentimes, colleagues, you know this sport has been historically one that men participate in. This title would not be possible without the support of her family, coaches, school administrators, and so with us today, I want to recognize some of the support that helped her make sure that she could succeed, not just in the competition, but at Sylmar High School. With us, I think, and I don't, where did he go? Our Sylmar High School principal, James Lee, did he make it? I didn't see him. You would recognize Mr. Lee. He's a towering figure, big advocate, and a volunteer at Rec and Parks, and a coach. So he's a tremendous principal. Also, Sylmar High School Athletic Director Melissa Snee, and head coach Trent Jackson, and assistant coach Wilkin Garcia. They were all instrumental in helping gain this win for Sylmar High School. Colleagues, clearly this young lady has proven that with hard work, dedication, and support, anyone can be a champion. Please give her a round of applause as I introduce Angelica Bolaños to say a few words.
I'd just like to thank my family, although they're not here, and my coaches, and also my school for giving me, because they're the ones that helped me to get to where I am now. And I'm also very appreciated that I got into wrestling because it built my character and it made me the person that I am today. Thank you.
Colleagues, a few words from the coach, Trent Jackson.
On behalf of Sylmar and the school district there at Sylmar and our coaching staff, I just want to thank you guys today for having us, and thank you, the city of Los Angeles. It's an exciting time to be part of female wrestling. It's actually the fastest growing sport nationwide for females, and it's the most accessible sport for ladies to get into college with scholarships and even to the Olympics. And Angelica is a prime example of that. This is just her second year wrestling. Even though she's a senior now, she's graduating. She has received some scholarship offers just in 2 years of wrestling. Wonderful. And this is the second year of the girls wrestling program at Sylmar, and we already have a city champ behind us. So it's a great honor for me to be able to coach her, and I'm looking forward to being able to find some more ladies at Sylmar to coach in wrestling. Thank you, guys.
Congratulations, Coach. Mr. Fuentes, I'm a Midwest back east guy, and wrestling was a tremendous sport back there. And I had my family here on the West Coast, and for so long wrestling just didn't seem to register much. People don't appreciate how difficult it is. And Angelica, I wrestled in college at 106 pounds. Didn't win a match, but I looked good with my tights on. Our colors were orange and blue, but it takes a lot of training, a lot of guts, and strength and technique. So I wish you the best, and I think that we should not run away from the fact, especially those of us that represent minority areas, the opportunities for college scholarships. So it's something that we should pay a little more attention to. So congratulations to you. Congratulations, Coach. Mr. Fuentes, well done.
Thank you, Council President Wesson. So Angelica, in front of your student body, in front of the city of Los Angeles and your coach and a community that is so supportive and proud of you, congratulations on being a champion for Sylmar High School. Go Spartans.
All right. At this time, I'd like to call on the representative from the great 8th District, Marquise Harris Dawson. If we could, shh. The floor is yours, Mr. Harris Dawson.
Thank you so much, Mr. President and members. Today is the sad, sad day when I have the honor of leading our council in saying goodbye to our great deputy mayor, the one and only Kelly Bernard. I'm going to ask her to join me at the podium here.
Yay, Kelly.
As we give her a big round of applause. So in keeping with the theme of sports and all the champions that we have had join us this morning from around the city, I want to talk about the scoreboard that Deputy Mayor Kelly Bernard has put up as in the Mayor's Office of Economic Development. Just a few numbers to be proud of: 112,292 new payroll jobs. 25,157 film production days, 5,972 homeless veterans housed, 51,450 new business registrations, 38,458 housing permits issued, 7,631 veteran job placements. She also helped lead out the process to provide the design report that let us do a landmark retrofit program to help gird our city for the next big earthquake that we know will come. The modernization project at LAX and at our port has happened under her leadership, and she's been a part of what I call dragging the city of Los Angeles into the 21st century, moving some of our key processes online so that builders and job creators and job developers have an easier time of getting through the red tape and can be more successful. And so I'm very proud to be associated with Deputy Mayor Bernard over the years. Sad to see her go, but excited to hear what she'll do for the city in the coming years. So, again, thank you for everything that you have done. Ms. Kelly, as I've called you for years and years and years. Let's hear a few words from our Deputy Mayor.
Not yet. Not yet. I'd like to recognize Mr. Curran Price from the new 9th District.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank my colleague, Marquise Harris Dawson, for bringing this important resolution to our attention. We certainly are going to miss Kelly Bernard. She's been an outstanding public servant, certainly providing leadership in our city in the area of economic development, shepherding the airport, the harbor, major economic development initiatives, as has been referred to. But we know you had a history. You know, you provided service over at DWP over the years and in the private sector. And so we just appreciated your commitment, your skill, your enthusiasm for making sure our city moves forward in the right way and that it is inclusive and includes everybody. And so we just appreciate your service. We know that you're going to continue to do great things out in the private sector again. And we just wish you well and know that you should know that you really have made a difference, made an important difference for the citizens, not only in the District 9, but citywide and in our region. And so we're going to miss you. Congratulations on all your future endeavors.
Not yet. Miss from the great 15th District, Mr. Joe Buscaino.
Thank you, Mr. President. Oh, Kelly, we're going to miss you. The pride and joy of Harbor City. In the last 3 years, we done so much together. So many obstacles and hurdles that were before us, but we got through them. And it was because of your commitment and your passion to serve this city. I mean, I can start at Jordan Downs, how you, along with Mayor Garcetti, called on all the heads of the departments to come together to move forward. And happy to see that later this year we'll be breaking ground finally the Jordan Downs development. And it's because of your leadership. And the last few years we were working together and trying to motivate the port to move on the 50-year lease with the Rakovich Company. And just yesterday, colleagues, the Port Commission approved that 50-year lease, and is because of your commitment, Kelly, to making sure that project got on and moving. So looking forward to having that come before us here soon. So you are a proud Gaucho, a proud Angelino, and I see Mom just smiling and glowing with pride. Commissioner, thank you. Thank you. It all starts at home for putting out such a great person, who is committed to public service. And we are going to miss you here in these chambers, but I know you're going to do great things in the private sector, Kelly. So on behalf of my team, thank you so much for moving the ball, moving the needle forward for my not only my district but throughout the city of Los Angeles on key projects and improving the economic development climate here in the city of Los Angeles. And I want to thank Mayor Garcetti for putting you in that position. So we're going to miss you. God bless you, and good luck to you.
Not yet. From the great First District, Mr. Gilbert Cedillo.
Just really briefly and succinctly, thank you for bringing to city government your incredible intellect, an extraordinary commitment to service, and I think one of the most stated elements of your character is your grace. And you've brought incredible grace, and you've brought prestige to city government, and it struggles, and it needs people who are smart, who are committed, but who also understand that it is an honor to serve, and you've done that with incredible grace, and for that, I, the First District, and the city thanks you.
Thank you.
I noticed that we have with us today Anna Guerrero, the Chief of Staff of Mayor Eric Garcetti. And I want to say to you, Anna, and have you pass it on to the mayor, that it's been a pleasure for us to work with him the past few years. But on behalf of the council, I want to say that Ms. Bernard is going to be somebody that we're really going to miss. She's a class act. Whenever there was something dicey or tough that needed to be done, she was the very appropriate person to have do that. So she was a wise choice. She's going to be missed. And I want to say, for any parent, I can't think of anything that's any more important than being proud of your daughter. So to Mom, I want to say, and our commissioner, that you did well. Kelly, you're going to be missed. And so that my wife doesn't beat me up, she's also a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, which is my wife. So ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up again for Kelly Bernard. Thank you for your service to the city of LA.
Mr. Council President, council members, councilwoman, thank you so much. From the moment I started, I mean, these past 3 years have been a culmination of almost 15 years of service to the city. For me, it started as a deputy for former council member Rudy Savornich in the 15th District. And I had just returned in the country. I thought I was going to work for a few years in the city, gain a little experience, and then leave. And 15 years later, almost, I am still here. And I am happy to have, grown up in this building. For me, it's always been about community service. I have my mom here, and she and my dad taught my brother and I, it's, no matter how much you have something to give, or how little you have, there's always something that you can give, even if it's just your time and yourself. And so we learned from a very early age to be of service. And I have tried to do that my entire professional career. And I feel very blessed that I have been able to meld my personal passions of service with a life of service professionally. Working for the city has always been about making this city great or greater. It's been about, creating opportunities and jobs, about growing businesses, and about making sure everyone has a place to call home. And so I am grateful that to Mayor Garcetti, to Ana Guerrero, to my team, I see many of whom are here. For these past 3 years, when I started, I had no idea of the things that we would accomplish, only that we were committed to doing the best that we could and partnering with all of you. And it has been a tremendous ride. And while my offices will change, my commitment and passion for the city will not change. I look forward to continuing to work with all of you, of course, after my cooling off period. I will always be a cheerleader of the city and for the work that all of you do. And so I, again, thank you for recognizing me today for this warm goodbye. And thank you.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Good luck to you.
Okay. Turn around.
And before we go to item 5, Mr. Fuentes, I want to quickly recognize Mr. Englander.
Thank you, Mr. President. I truly appreciate that. I am joined here today with Kiana and Carly. And, I know we all have some type of, hopefully most of us do, internship program. And we get a lot of interns in and out of our office. And we've got 2 that really stood out this year that have just done a phenomenal, incredible job. And we've had some rough challenges this year with the Porter Ranch gas leak and some of the crises in our community. And Kiana was a junior at CSUN, history and business law. She's working towards her law degree now, worked on our as a legislative intern and analyzed comprehensive homeless plan, public safety reports, really was there to pick up because we were all working around the clock and hit the ground running in our office. I mean, it was just phenomenal. And I have no doubt because she's got city family in her blood, and maybe because her dad, Captain Riles over here, is really one of the role models for her. But let me tell you right now, I think she's the role model for him. Because as a father of 2 daughters, I'm so proud when I see these young ladies come into an office that has so much going on and is so busy and chaotic with crises and actually walk in and know how to run the place and tell us what to do. And they're right, by the way, and has something to offer and opinions and ideas and suggestions. And it's refreshing knowing that when we leave this horseshoe, we're going to have people running this city, this state, and this country that were much smarter than we are. And make no mistake, they are. Carly Olson graduated from CSUN, bachelor's degree in political science, communications intern. She was the point person in our office as well on the Aliso Canyon gas leak. In fact, she was the one that did all the analytics on all the bills. When we made the statement that people's bills were inflated, we've got hundreds, I kid you not, hundreds of phone calls, emails, copies of people's bills. She created relationship databases so we can figure out where they're all at and communicate with the Public Utilities Commission. She did that. And then recently, she was just hired by Uber as a productive development team. And if you know them, that's not an easy position to get. They don't hire a lot of people internally, and they only bring in the cream of the crop, the best and the brightest, and they've done that, make no mistake. She also just worked, last night we had Making Movies That Matter, and we'll have a whole presentation on that But last night we had a small event where we had 1,500 people show up. It was incredible, and we'll talk about that later and bring those folks in. But we had 1,000 kids participate, 26 schools, and she was instrumental in helping put all that together as well. So it's an honor and a privilege and bittersweet to wish these two good luck in their future, and that they gave up their time and helped us get through some difficult times, and were really instrumental in our office, and two bright, shining stars for our future, and I wish them only the best. And so if we could put our hands together for two remarkable young leaders, say thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
And so we have...
Okay, Mr. Fuentes, we're going to go to item 5. I've got cards. You want me to take care of the cards first? Okay, so I've got Mr. Walsh and Mr. Akala on item 5. Please come forward. Mr. John Walsh and Mr. Juan Akala on item 5.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or J. Walsh Confidential, and tweeting at Hollywood Dems. I see Mr. List is here. I've checked you out. You have no kiddie porn in your background, as is one person I spoke of and was appointed and then thrown out. I see community forest. I don't know where this community forest is, but I'm sure you'll do a good job. You're in Council District 7. Community background check review pending. I wish we would find out more about your background. But other than that, I can't see any real reason for Mr. List. I hope you feel safe here at the City Council. And I see absolutely no reason to vote against Mr. List to preserve our community forest. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Okay, and before we bring up the next speaker, Mr. Cedillo, I forgot. Please, young people, don't leave. Mr. Cedillo?
Yes, they have another appointment coming up, but the Lincoln High School Advanced Placement Government class is joined us today. Lincoln Heights, Lincoln High School, one of the oldest high schools in the city of Los Angeles. North Broadway, Lincoln Heights.
Welcome.
Let's go Tigers.
And good luck to all of you. Okay, Mr. Akala? And I apologize, Mr. Cedillo.
Yes. This item, I wish to speak only 1 minute. Hold 1 minute, please.
Okay.
I really don't know this person that you're putting in this position, but I'm sure he's good at playing along with the system, so why not putting him in? You're all really good at playing along with the system, no matter how bad it is. Put him in. He'll be just as good as you, or as bad as you. By the way, you're all safe here. Nobody's been ever violent.
No, you're not on the topic, Mr. Akala. You're not on the topic.
1 minute.
Okay. Mr. Fuentes?
Thank you. If we could have Mr. List come to the center table, please. Colleagues, I want to introduce to you a horticultural teacher.
Please have a seat.
At Sylmar High School. But he's not just a teacher for Sylmar High School. Mr. List is a real leader in our community, so much so that Mayor Garcetti has nominated him to be an Angelino of the Year. Mr. List does a tremendous amount of work at Sylmar High School, so much so that as we were taking photos with the student body and our champion from Sylmar High School, they all said to me, can we come back to Chambers to support Mr. List? He's been a real beacon of support to his school and to our community. Now, in the city of Los Angeles, we are having a very good conversation, I think, these days about how it is that we activate public space, how it is that we build more communion with one another. And one of those ways has been by making sure that we share techniques that help build Los Angeles into a more resilient and sustainable community. Mr. List doesn't just teach horticulture at Sylmar High School. He manages what is a nursery scale operation at Sylmar. He dedicates so much of his time and so many resources, and he does this without any support from LAUSD. Aside from what teachers get, which is to say, when it comes to getting supplies, everything to have a nursery the size that they have at Sylmar, the school district doesn't pay for it. He does that based on the network that he has. He does that based on his good reputation. He does that in a way that it's so large that every single planting that I'm aware of in the Northeast San Fernando Valley, the stock that goes into those plantings for community gardens or Little Fingers or any of the things that we're doing out there, it comes from Steve. He's able to obtain, procure, and get all of this stuff at no cost to the school, to the students, or to the community from which we're doing all of this gardening. He has been a tremendous, tremendous partner in the Northeast San Fernando Valley. I'm excited to call him a friend and a neighbor because we don't live too far away from each other in Sylmar. But I'm even more excited today, colleagues, because he is my recommendation, and I'm glad that the mayor has acknowledged it and agrees, for this city's Community Forest Advisory Committee. So, colleagues, I would urge an aye vote and would just ask Steve to share a little bit of his insight as to what he thinks the advisory committee can do for the city of Los Angeles and how important that role is.
Stand up or?
No, you sit.
Okay. Hello, my name is Steve List. Some of you know me. I've worked with a few of you throughout the community. Thank you, Felipe, for nominating me and getting me into this position. I really didn't know what it was all about until I attended a few meetings. I do believe I could be a great asset to our, not only the entire city of Los Angeles, but to District 7, and to help with our trees in our area, our environment. I'm very, very active all through District 7, especially in the city of Sylmar. And just a little tiny story, we did have a little issue with some trees that were newly planted around my school, and I was able to see the problem, acknowledge it, call Felipe, and immediately this was taken care of, and I think we saved probably 75 brand new trees. So I am going to be a big force in our community, and I'm going to take this urban forestry committee and I'm going to implement it into my curriculum at Sylmar High School, which I believe is the best horticulture, agriculture school in LA. Is that saying too much?
No.
I love to brag about my students, so.
We'll go right ahead.
Thank you, thank you.
And obviously they had the utmost respect for you. They just, you had a group that wanted to come back and watch this happen. Mr. Fuentes.
Thank you, Mr. Weston. And with that, I'd like to urge an aye vote, and then we'll take the students back for 2 times in the back for photos with our great, not just teacher, but activist Steve List. Urge an aye
Okay,
vote.
Madam, or Mr. Clerk, open the roll. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Congratulations, Mr. List. Let's move to item 7. If I can get Mr. Dog, Mr. Sean Murphy, Mr. Previn, please come forward on item 7. Pass. Mr. Zumadog passes. Mr. Murphy, Sean Murphy.
Yes, good morning, Mr. President. Item 7, I am supporting this item. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Walsh. I'm sorry, Mr. Previn. I apologize. Mr. Previn, it is your time, sir. Item 7.
Thank you, Council President Weston. It is Eric Previn from CD2. And item 7, I'll just take 1 minute. This is an extension of the lease that we have for an office, I believe, in Washington, D.C. I'm sure many residents don't know, but one of the roles that the city government plays is to lobby the federal government and to request legislation. We hear about it from time to time that would benefit the city. This is done for many jurisdictions like City of Los Angeles. We do it at the county as well. And I'm very interested to see that there is an office dedicated, especially. I assume that there are a few employees who do this work on a regular basis, and I also assume that we hire probably some lobbyists who would assist the city. I don't know if that's true for sure because I haven't researched it. I know we have lobbyists at this level, but that's a different kind of lobbyist. So as the time runs out, I would just hope that this is a nice office. Thank you.
Thank you. And don't go too far, Mr. Previn. I'm going to call you up the next item. So let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Okay, now I'd like to call Mr. Previn back up to the center mic. Item 10. 7 forthwith? Okay, so I want to call you back up. Item 10. And after you, if I can get Mr. Murphy and Mr. Dog. Item 10, Mr. Previn.
Sure, thank you. It is Eric Previn. Again, I'm not sure I'll need a full 2 minutes on this one. This is in the great CD4 David Roos district, and I happen to know the location very, very well. It's on South Rimpaw, just, I believe it's just north of Wilshire. This is one of the nicest neighborhoods in town, sir. This is Hancock Park, if I've got it correct. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it is. It's these homes, and someone should take a drive over there, are beautiful. I mean, you're talking about major, I would say Mansion is not far off. This is part of the history of Los Angeles. These are extraordinary homes that what's interesting about Los Angeles is they're not all of the same cultural, historical style, frankly. There's a wide range. You can see a beautiful Spanish. You'll see some that are a little modern. Many adhere to the kind of, what's the right word I'm looking for? Not Baroque, but beautiful, almost Western British style mansions. And in this case, we're just looking at a $37,000 Quimby fee. I assume someone wants to make a modification, but I don't. Oh, it does say subdivider. Oh, maybe they're going to be breaking it into more homes. I'm not sure. I haven't done the full research. I wanted to talk about the neighborhood, which I adore. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Murphy, followed by Mr. Dog.
Yes, I grew up around that area. I know what Ruth's talking about. I lived in the Miracle Mile area. I grew up in the Miracle Mile area, and I know what this item is about. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dog.
Thank you. Zuma Dog. And I'd like you to go to lacitynow.com. In further reference to this item, I would like you to vote no on these maps. And here's why. Caution you for 10 years that you have a density problem here in the city. Too much density already. These track maps are to allow further density through new buildings. We got enough. Again, density problems, traffic beyond is really getting bad. You do not have the ability to repair the roads as you're supposed to. There's a water shortage. The DWP pipes are exploding. You don't have the police to enforce the city, and you don't have the building and safety inspectors to enforce the building and safety. The city is at its maximum right now. So I want you to vote no on this track maps. And go to lacitynow.com because I want you to become aware of a new affordable housing and office solution for the city that you can use for these track maps. Affordable homes. Herb, I'll be talking to you about that, and many of the council members. We do have a homeless crisis in the city now that is beyond what you really ever thought would be here. So I'm trying to be a consultant to let you know affordable homes that you can look at lacitynow.com, I believe, is the future for all of the problems that you have regarding the homeless.
Thank you.
So I would like to use the rest of my 27 seconds.
Now get back on subject.
Okay. Thank you. I'll summarize. Thank you, Council President Wesson. I'd like to say vote no on this track maps because the city has a density, water, DWP pipe, police, total infrastructure crisis. And I believe that the affordable homes that you can look at lacitynow.com will be the solution to the city's crisis. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Okay, now I want to move to item 8. If I can get Mr. Daniel Gus, and if I can get Mr. Akala, and if I can get Mr. Walsh on item 8.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Gus.
Thank you. 1 minute only, please.
Yes, sir.
I'm not against development. I'm not against Yeshiva University Boys High School getting a benefit. I'm concerned that you're waiving something that all other private organizations need to adhere by. And I'm concerned that there's an advantage being given to Yeshiva University of Los Angeles that's not being given to other organizations. And the documents really weren't clear why. If you're going to waive it for Yeshiva, you should waive it for all. I'll give my time back. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Walsh, you're okay.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org, or J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dem. $15 million bonds, issuance of bonds on behalf of Yeshiva University of Los Angeles Boys High School. Fine. But what about $15 million for people who don't have my skin? What about people who aren't half Jewish like I am? What about another $15 million for Black Boys High School? How about another $15 million of bonds for a Korean school? How about another $15 million for an Hispanic school? No, it looks like only the relatives of the mayor of the city of Los Angeles, his Jewish relatives, get the $15 million. And I'm sure that you'll get a lot of deals out of this $15 million for the yeshiva. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Mr. Akala.
I basically want to repeat everything that Mr. Welch said. Walsh, HollywoodHighland.org. I would feel safer if you went and put money into East LA and North Hollywood and all those places where we really need even our streets are broken up, but we're giving this money to a high school because they're Jewish. Dude, I'd like to become a Palestinian, see if I can get some money, if I could, or I don't know, maybe if I were to move somewhere to the Middle East, you could send me some money over there.
Get back on subject, Mr. Akala, if you would, please.
Well, that's right. Money for a Jewish school, yeah. You're all going to vote yes anyway. What the hell am I talking about, right? I know.
Thank you, sir. Let's prepare to vote. Oh, Mr. Krikorian, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. President. I hesitate to rise, but again, I've said this about 1,000 times as we've had TEFRA hearings of these things. This is not the use of city money to support this school. This is simply an administrative action to support the school's achieving its own bonding capacity. It has nothing to do with giving this school or anyone else that comes for a TEFRA hearing any money at all.
Thank you, sir. Let's prepare to vote on. Thank you again for that clarification. Let's prepare to vote on the item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
We have a special group, very special group of visitors with us today, all the way from the great city of Montebello. We have a group of seniors in the back. Welcome to Los Angeles City Hall. Thank you for visiting. Thank you for visiting with us today. And you're welcome anytime. Let's now move on to item number 1. Mr. Walsh, we're on item 1. Mr. Walsh passes. Mr. Murphy, item number 1.
Yes, item 1, I support.
Thank you. And if I could get Mr. Zumadog, Mr. ZD, Mr. Akala on item 1.
Yes, thank you, Zumadog. And maybe Paul Krikorian could listen for a little response. I've noticed he's been dissatisfied with my public comments about the Building and Safety Department. it's been brought to my attention, and I want to vote no for this. Okay, to do not find these people. When you get, what's happening is the building and safety department is going around to the regular residents, mom and pop owners of properties, and slapping on all these like mafia, Goodfella, Soprano type of inspectors on them. You know, you got to bring your hedges down a little bit. Then the liens come in and the fines, and then you lose your property. And the FBI has been investigating this matter continually. And they have busted people in the window for taking bribes. So when I see these small little liens for $2,000, those for the mom and pop ones. But at the same time, the big giant stuff from your big $1 million, condos or whatever, they violate any type of rule. I saw Mike Bonin in the LA Times. He said that, gee, we don't have the enforcement mechanisms for this stuff, and the big developers know it, and they're running roughshod across the city with their development, but you don't do anything about that. Okay, so what I'd like to say is don't fine these people for nuisance abasement. This is little stuff that you go after the mom and pops. I want you to take your mafia, thug, corrupt building and safety inspectors and tell them to go over to Mildred Avenue, for example, where the home is being built cutting off sidewalk access. It's becoming out of control. Please, I want you to forget this and go after the big stuff. Again, listen to Mike Bonin. It's so bad in Venice with the developers that are running roughshod because they know you don't have any enforcement. You can't do anything. Start to do something.
Thank you, Mr. Dog. Mr. Akala on item 1.
On item 1, I disagree with the city taking money from homeowners arbitrarily. These liens are illegal and immoral and produce more homelessness. And you keep writing up the price of housing, and what do we get on the street? More homeless people shedding on your backyard, on your front yard, pissing on your lawn.
Again, I think we veered off topic.
No, I'm not. I'm
veer
on
back
topic.
a little bit, Mr.
I'm on
Akala.
topic, sir. City attorney, why don't you go to law school?
Get back on.
we're
Get back.
definitely off
Get
topic.
back.
Look, these liens are illegal and immoral, and you are all part of it. You're ripping the people off with all kinds of violations. Violation for parking here for 1 hour. And you're going to be, later on, you're going to be approving more parking restrictions. So these liens are very equivalent to what you're doing to the people on other areas. You're just sucking our money. No, you find a million ways to suck our money. And then you don't feel safe in City Hall.
Okay, thank you.
Right, Nuri?
Thank you. Thank you. You're off the subject, Mr. Akala, and I think you're out of time as well. Let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Okay, we're going to move now to item number 6. I have Mr. Walsh. I've got you. I've got Mr. Dog, and I've got Mr. Murphy. This is on item 6.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org, Jay Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. And this concerns, I know you think I'm joking, but this concerns crap. And well, everything up here concerns crap, but this concerns actual all-area plumbing relative to a refund claim. Has anyone checked out to see whether they deserve a refund claim? From all area plumbing, unfortunately, they don't tell you the amount of money. Oh, here it is, $87,882.82. 87,000 here, 87,000 there. After a while, it adds up to real money. All area plumbing is BS. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Thank you. Mr. Murphy? Mr. Akala, you're out of time. Please take a seat. And Mr. Murphy passes. Mr. Dog on item 6.
Yes, I would like you to approve this refund from this company. What this relates to is a refund for the Building and Safety Department. Yeah, refund it. It's a bunch of corrupt, crook, mafia thugs that run around fining and feeing people for no reason at all, except they got City Hall muscle behind them. And if you don't do it, you're going to lose your property, see? And maybe even end up in a ditch. Okay? So the point is, here's somebody that feels they were wrongly fined. You obviously agree because it's on the agenda. So in abundance of caution, as your concierge advisor, I will tell you to issue the refund so you don't end up in further hot water with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, who is investigating the Building and Safety Department. I can hardly wait to find out the outcome. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Okay, we'll go to item 9. Mr. Gus, Mr. Previn, Mr. Walsh.
One minute only, please. Yes, this is exactly what you should be doing. This is a great item. Anything to make voting more convenient, safer, more effective, more fair, getting more people in the process. That's what being a city council member is. We criticize a lot of things where I think you shouldn't be involved in. This is exactly right. I took a look at the document of the council file. I see that all of the major players for elections and voting are involved in this. So this is something that really is exactly what you should be doing. Thank you. 1 minute.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Walsh, Mr. Previn, Mr. Murphy, please
John
come
Walsh,
forward.
Blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org, J. Walsh Confidential. Presentation in the Tom Bradley Room in City Hall, Friday, July 1st. Tom Bradley was a real mayor. He gave us rent control. And this concerns voting systems assessment project. I don't know what it is. I know we really don't need it. We've been assessing the voting unsystematically for 50, 60 years. No one's complaining about crooked voting. I haven't heard any of this. But that's from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And but I want to know whether the public is allowed to be there, or is it only for people like Mr. Krikorian, who's not sitting here? He's somewhere else now. John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org.
Mr. Previn, please, sir, come to the center podium.
Thank you. It is Eric Previn from CD2. So, a voting system assessment project, I think, was pushed into service in 2009 by the county registrar recorder, who I don't think it was Dean Logan at that date, but it is now Dean Logan. And obviously the county has a large hand in administrating the elections, and as you know, your body soon will migrate toward the county system as well. So that's encouraging. And a shout out to Heather, like you did, sir, yesterday at the budget hearing, Heather Holt of the Ethics Commission. So what we're going to be doing is putting all of the elections together on a schedule where voters, people are worried, are going to be confused, there's too much happening, but everybody has agreed that that's perhaps the lesser of two evils as opposed to the way it is now where, for example, in my district, CD2, we had an election and there was not one debate, there was only one challenger, little old me, and so on and so forth. So by enhancing voting processes, which is, I think, the purpose of this organization, and looking at the technology. For example, we also tried out some new technology here at the city level. We tried the electronic aspect, which is Justin Wesson will confirm, didn't go as everybody had planned, obviously. We were hoping that it would be a little more fair and reasonable. But nonetheless, we explored it. Now, Mr. Englander certainly, as a offspring of the firm Englander, Knabe and Allen, is aware of the companies that are competing for the angle for how we deal with the mail voting and deal with processing voting. There's all sorts of players who like to affect that. And there's one that is in England or Knabe now. I can't remember. I was looking on my phone for the name. They give regularly over at the county side, not over here, sir. So there's no, these guys don't even know each other, FYI. So there's not a, I mean, they do know each other, but there's a wall. There's an ethical wall, if I may. Once again, shout out to Heather Holt, who is doing an excellent job. Now, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Previn. Mr. Murphy, item 9.
Yes, voting system is good. Everybody must vote. Why don't you move the voting to Saturday and Sunday so people have more time to get out and vote sometimes? Why don't you move it to...
Thank you. Let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, Mr. Clerk. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Madam Clerk, why don't we recess the regular, move into the special? Would you call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Harris, Dawson, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rue, Wesson. 13 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. We're going to move to item 11. Mr. Walsh. Mr. Previn on item 11.
Mr. President,
yes.
Items 11 and 12 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, those items are before this body. Yes, sir. And then Mr. Akala, you'll come on after Mr. Previn. Yes.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. This concerns a health survey of residents near the Aliso Canyon gas leak, which you heard first here off-agenda at the end of the meeting. I just want you to know, and I want to talk to the black people, these white people waited till their children were bleeding from the nose and hemorrhaging before they complained. If this had happened in a black neighborhood, you would have been out the next day and stopped it. But the white people, the Trump people, they hate government and they love this private gas company. That's why their children were sacrificed, bleeding, and you did goddamn nothing about it till the media went on it. You don't give a shit whether they're white or black. You just want to keep it quiet. Anybody for supervisor.
Thank you. No, you're off topic. Okay, Mr. Previn.
Thank you, sir. It is Eric Previn from CD2. I suppose thank you to Mr. Englander and Commissioner Blumenfield on this one. This is a request from the Great City Hall to get the county public health group, who I'm very familiar with. This is run by Jonathan Fielding previously, and now a woman who is doing an excellent job, who, for the record, was a rock and roll star, Mr. Cedillo, Mr. Weezer. I know you guys like that. She had a career. She's an executive now at the county, but she had a career as a musician, which is, I find, very, very interesting. But this is great. This is an opportunity to engage the county public health group alongside Mr. Englander's advocacy for his constituents who have suffered at the Aliso Canyon space. There have been this is about home testing. We're gonna have a closer look, and I did note that in addition to that, there's going to be a hotline, a dedicated hotline, which is exactly what they need at this point. I'm not sure what happened with the office that he had dedicated. I think that they may have limited the hours there, but now the hotline makes more sense because then they can assist with any measurements that need to be done. Now, the legal fighting in this space is a part that, as you know, regularly concerns me, because the city attorney has pushed extremely hard alongside a bunch of volunteers from the Korean American Bar Association and others. Thank you to Mr. Lee, by the way, for all that help. But these people are going to be suing the crap out of, if I may use the official term, SoCal Gas, and I just hope that the lawsuits are scoped appropriately, because everybody is sympathetic to this horrifying incident. And I think people are most focused on, and I think the governor even, I thought I heard, is planning on possibly shutting this entire facility. So thank you to Mark Ridley Thomas for that. I mean, this is one of the, as we've said many, many times in repetition, one of the worst natural disasters, this Aliso Canyon. Not natural, but what do you call it, sir? It's a problem.
A disaster.
Well, okay, fair enough. Let's stipulate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Previn. Mr. Akala?
Actually, this whole city is a disaster waiting to happen.
Let's stay on the subject.
Yes, Aliso Canyon. It's just one little area where some fairly wealthy people live, and these gas companies, in their quest to make more money, they make unsafe moves, and certainly this was some kind of an unsafe move, wasn't it? Eventually, a lot of gas pipes are going to be erupting all over the city, and this place is going to look like Gotham City.
Mr. Gus.
Have you ever seen Batman?
No, thank you. You're off the subject. Thank you. Okay, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Okay, let's now move to item 12. Do I have a Holmes Jr.? Mr. Holmes Stoner Jr., please come forward, followed by Mr. Daniel Gus on item 12, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President and Council. I'm happy to be here. Take just a few moments of your time. Mr. Price, nice to see you again. My name is Holmes Stoner. I'm the chairman of the International Chamber of Commerce of America and the Pacific Rim Business Council, and the founder and co-chairman of Affordable Homes for You. And we've met before. And what I wanted to reiterate, and I'm not going to take any time here, is the fact that we are the largest manufacturer of eco modular homes in the world. We can make thousands of these at a very, very low cost and be your ultimate solution. And the one thing that I wanted to mention today, this is what one of our little homes looks like. Their bungalows can house 4 people. And we were saying before that these were not permitted in Los Angeles, but I beg to differ, because these homes are sitting in Venice, California, and they are being lived in, and they've been there for quite some time. So obviously, there is permission for these people to be here. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. So if I can get Mr. Gus, followed by Mr. Walsh, followed by Mr. Previn. Yes, sir.
Yeah. There is a fantastic article about this subject on City Watch LA by Patrick Range McDonald. I think it was published this morning, about the disappearing middle class and affordable housing issues. And I would, Mr. McDonald used to write for the LA Weekly, and it really discusses what the problem is here. The city keeps building and pouring money and soliciting federal money on affordable housing. And I used to live on Bunker Hill, a few blocks from here, and it was really desolate and really an awful place in downtown at the time. And now I see a lot of really fantastic-looking buildings in downtown around Little Tokyo, in Hollywood. But I really wonder how much of this is actually going to be affordable. And I think City Council may want to hold a forum as to what is affordable in terms of HUD and what is affordable in terms of practical everyday living in Los Angeles. I think we have a disappearing middle class, and that's the problem. It's not just an issue of affordable housing. It's an issue of what is the middle class and what's causing the middle class to disappear. And the factors are different in other big cities. Our factors are different than San Francisco because of the tech agency. And I think City Council needs to have a public forum on what is affordable in a practical sense and what is middle class and what factors are causing the middle class to disappear. It's a good issue, but I just keep seeing 1 point something billion and this 100 million, and I see a lot of really neat looking buildings going up, but they don't look like it's affordable. And that makes me wonder, I can afford it, you can afford it, but I'm wondering, is it solving the problem? Thank you.
Thank you. So if I can get Mr. Walsh, Mr. Previn, Mr. Dog. Yes, sir.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org, or Jay Walsh, confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. You're not taking this seriously. This is a state legislative program that would give $1.3 billion for housing programs throughout the entire state. Why do I say they're not taking this seriously? Look, City Rules Committee waived consideration of the above matter. City Elections Committee waived consideration. Intergovernmental Relations Committee waived consideration. Neighborhoods Committee waived consideration. You are not even, and you're not going to speak on it, and you're not going to go up there, and you're not going to lobby for the money, and you're going to let other cities like San Diego and Orange County get all this money because you're waiving consideration because Brown didn't give you a piece of the action. And if you don't get a piece of the crooked action, you don't give a damn.
Mr. Previn, followed by Mr. Dog. Yes, sir.
Well, thank you, sir. It is Eric Previn from CD2, and I would definitely like to thank Mr. Cedillo and Mr. Harris-Dawson for bringing forward this motion to tune up our Sacramento folks on, I think, supporting the deployment of some of this money toward the affordability crisis. I want to reference that this week in Los Angeles, just across the street, sir, there was a mob scene of interested stakeholders and members of the public of City and County of Los Angeles. In fact, we heard from members of your actual team in support of a proposal to put a tax, believe it or not, on all income above $1 million. It's a half a percent tax. So in other words, if you made 1.5 million, let's just dream, sir. If we made 1.5 million, you would pay this is one of the affordability. This is a proposal that's very much in Sacramento. They're going up now. In fact, many of the speakers were saying, we got to get up there. We're going to be with you because everybody wants to work on this affordability crisis. I'm just trying to explain that it's not as onerous as it sounds. On the $500,000 above $1 million, 0.5% would be $2,500. So for a rich person who's able to make $1.5 million in income, that's pretty compelling. Now, Blumenfield will point out, you got some people have big families. I'm not 100% sure that taxing is the right way to go, and I don't disagree.
Mr. Previn, get back on the subject.
Well, I am on the subject, sir. These are the kinds of ways to deal with affordability. Am I wrong?
Thank you.
Wait, what do you think?
Mr. City Attorney.
This is not on topic. The issue is the support of state legislation, not a tax.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Previn. So if I could have Mr. Dog, the next, I've warned you twice on that.
What? I'm talking about
affordability. No, come on, Eric. Mr. Previn. Mr. Dog, please come forward. Where is he? Mr. Zumadog? Mr. Akala? Come on.
He was there a minute ago.
Well, now it's you.
Here today, going to Maui. Affordable housing in L.A.? Are you kidding? And you're putting $1.3 billion? You know how many rents for poor people you could pay with $1.3 billion? You could pay a long, long, long time with this money for people to be able to rent a place, a little place, nothing big. Where in the hell is all this money going? $1.3 billion for affordable. Affordable what? There's not going to be anything affordable in this city. The way you're going, this place is going to look like Tijuana in a few years. Nobody's going to be able to afford anything, so we're all going to run for the hills and build a little shack out there.
Get back on the subject.
Yeah, affordable housing. It's the same problem all over the world. Unless you change the structure of real estate, you're never going to get affordable housing, much less in this country. Why isn't Donald Trump talking about this?
Thank you. You're off the topic. Mr. Cedillo?
Members, yesterday we did something that was extraordinary and committed for the first time $138 million to address the challenges that confront this city around homelessness. We are glad to note that League of Cities and the counties are working together. The City of Los Angeles and the County of Los Angeles are working together. And this provides us an opportunity to align our efforts with the state of California. They are making an extraordinary commitment of $2 billion. And there's another initiative of $1.3 billion to stabilize middle-class families, as rents have soared in this state by 20% in the last 7 years, and yet the income has dropped by 8%. This is an opportunity for us to go and reinforce our program, let people know what the commitments are of the City of Los Angeles. In addition, this provides us an opportunity to align the resources that the city is committing with the resources that are coming from the state. We want to make sure that we have the broadest flexibility, that we have the ability to spend money as soon as we get it and as soon as we're able to, and that we have the flexibility to make sure that we're not just spending it in one niche area, but that we have the flexibility to spend it in the areas where we have an ongoing need. We need rental housing for lower income working families. We need home ownership opportunities and rental housing for working families. We need to make sure that the housing that we do have, those soft story homes, are retrofitted, and we need housing assistance and production for homeless individuals and their families. A range of programs that the city has endeavored into, and we need to make sure that we can maximize the collaboration between the city and the state. That's the purpose of our trip. I'll be joined by Mr. Marquise Harris-Dawson and Mr. Bonin, the CAO's office, the CAO, and the CLA. And
we wish you well.
Thank you.
We wish you well. Okay, on that item, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
And again, we want to thank you, Mr. Cedillo, for leading that delegation to the state capitol. That should close the special, correct? So can we return to the regular? And what is before this body?
Mr. President, you have public comment.
Okay, so let's start off with Mr. Daniel Gus, followed by Mr. Omar Baldwin, and then followed by Mr. Murphy. Mr. Gus, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Council members, this morning I again have the new #1 article on City Watch LA. It's regarding your item 50 from the other day about the Super Bowl. It's titled, for the viewers, if you want to go to citywatchla.com, my article is titled, Ill-Prepared Los Angeles Grovels for a Super Bowl It Won't Get. And I explain how the next 5 Super Bowls are spoken for and how at which time the NFL will give Southern California Super Bowl to Inglewood. I explain how Jacksonville and Indianapolis and Pontiac, cities that are far less fun than Los Angeles, got them. It makes me wonder, and I think it makes other people wonder, what the gesture was about. You used time, you used resources, you used an agenda item to tell the NFL that you really are interested in hosting a Super Bowl, and I explained why that's not going to be done. It really makes me ponder why in the world you had that item the other day. They're not going to have it in Los Angeles. Have a good weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gus. Mr. Baldwin, followed by Mr. Murphy, followed by Mr. Walsh.
Hello, my name is Omar Baldwin, founder and CEO of Peace Please nonprofit organization. Today I would like to talk about the progression of peace on earth. I believe we can, stop multiple wars at one time and, all around the world if we, follow the right, correct protocol. Me, myself, I don't know protocol, but I'm just feeling protocol from my heart, and that's what I follow. And I believe once we go to the United Nations, that if we can, possibly, some kind of way become, if we go to United Nations and try to get all the, ambassadors, whoever represents that one country like Israel. I had called Israel, and I told them, hey, we can lead peace on earth. Israel, since we're allies with America, America, I'm American first before I'm Israelist. I believe in peace on earth, and I believe we can make change in our world.
Thank you, sir. So if I can get Mr. Murphy, Mr. Walsh, Mr. Previn.
Yes, City Council. I'm sorry about what you've been through, Herb. My prayers are to you. You should not have, this City Council should not have to put up with anybody like Wayne Spindler. You need to get some help. Expo lights opening in 10 minutes to the public. We need to keep our sidewalks clean, our libraries open. That's about it. Wayne, get some help.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Walsh, followed by Mr. Previn, followed by Mr. Dog.
Yesterday on TV News, Miss Nuri Martinez said, quote, "I fear for my life at City Council." Anybody else fear for their life at City Council? She's paranoid. She's schizophrenic. That's a slap in the face for the LAPD, and you never hear us attack the LAPD in this building. They do a fantastic job. Nuri Martinez is the only one who fears for... Who else fears for their life? Krikorian, no. O'Farrell, no. Cedillo, no. Buscaino. What's the matter with her? And as far as Wayne Spindler is concerned, he did nothing wrong. He doodled on a piece of paper, and you sent him to jail with $75,000 bail. You're trying to destroy him, and you made it a racial issue. You have heard, you're the one who made it a racial issue. And it took you 2 days to file a complaint against him. He handed in the card. You could have arrested him then. You didn't.
Thank you, Mr. Previn, Mr. Dog, Mr. Monty Cook.
Yes, it's Eric. It's Eric Previn from CD2. Apparently, we're having some audio problems today, and I apologize for that. I did not hear what the city attorney said when I was trying to make my comments about the affordability crisis in Los Angeles. And, sir, you're shutting me down at a minute and a half into my 2 minutes or whatever it was. Is beyond the pale, I think is the right expression. On what grounds? First of all, there should be a room full of 200 people in here, as there was yesterday at the county board, or a couple days ago at the county board of supervisors. This is the crisis of our time. And to be shutting me down because I'm explaining to members of the public my understanding of the various proposals, which it even cites. It says a variety of housing programs to address affordability crisis. I mean, and if I'm supposed to have the sophistication to know exactly what the point is, it's just, this is abhorrent, sir. I mean, I don't know why you would shut a member of your public down. I can't understand it, and I don't accept it.
I'm going to ask the city attorney to respond. Go, Mr. City Attorney.
Sure. So item 12 in the special agenda was about the city's position on state legislation to support affordability. That is separate from a local tax, citywide or countywide, on millionaires to address the homeless crisis. We let the speaker talk a little while because they were thematically connected, but they really are different issues.
Thank you for that clarification. Okay, Mr. Dog, no, we're not going to go back and forth. Mr. Previn, Mr. Dog, Mr. Cook, Mr. Akala.
Good morning, council members, Mr. President. This is our problem, homelessness. I guess I should have been 12, but it's a general comment. We have a homeless problem, and I have a solution. I make these affordable homes out of steel. They last a lifetime. They're transportable, transitional, eco-modular homes. And I just want the city to know that they exist and that it's a great solution. There's a property at Sunset and Main in Venice that I could put 1,000 people on in 3 months that could live in these, and they're very comfortable. They're modern. They're indestructible, like I said, and they're a solution. You guys have some funds for that. I don't even need funds. I have investors that will put these anywhere the city will allow them. And again, they're all over the world. These they're made out of brand new steel structures, and I make them in 5 countries, and I just want the city to know that they exist. And Mr. Wesson, we'd love to address it further.
Good to see you, Mr. Stoner, again.
Cook, Monty Cook.
Yeah.
So is my partner.
Mr. Akala, good to see you guys. How's your camera? Okay, Mr. Akala, the floor is yours.
Yeah, the problem is not housing. He's got a solution for you. The problem is your insistence on making the land on which the housing is going to go, make it illegal. You can't do this here, you can't do that there, you can't do anything anywhere. But I'm sure none of you are homeless, so you don't give a shit about the homeless, and you have no solutions to offer. You have absolutely no solutions. You put so many $1 billion here, so many $1 billion there, billion, and you don't solve anything. You're a bunch of fucking idiots. You go right along with Donald Trump. He's a fucking redneck idiot. That's what he is. He's going to lead the rednecks into where? Into war with everybody else?
Thank you. Miss Richardson, please come forward. Miss Jacqueline Richardson. Yes, ma'am.
Between the time Bush was president and Obama, there was a big gap. In between this gap, they're letting go of the presidency and trying to obtain it. There was Katrina. There was 911. There were the people in the armed services sexually harassing women. I don't know if they raped any or not, but they were harassing women. There was the housing crisis. During other crises, immigrants were coming in here in the midst of lots and lots of confusion, continual confusion of one type or the other. During the housing crisis, almost every major newspaper printed out how the housing crisis started and how to handle it. But as far as I know, none of the banks were approached for the housing crisis. They were part of the crisis. That was when Bush was going out of office. They were selling some homes for $500. That's another story. I hope we don't have any more crises between Obama and the next president. Hope there's not all that confusion.
Thank you. That concludes general public comment. Madam Clerk, that leaves us where?
Council has motions for posting and referral.
Okay, they are posted. They are referred.
The desk is clear.
Announcements, members. Mr. Buscaino for an announcement.
Thank you. The Port of Los Angeles colleagues are offering free harbor boat tours tomorrow, the hours of 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Waves and Wheels, free harbor boat tours. Welcome to everyone in the city of Los Angeles throughout. You'll see the economy, the regional, national, international economy moving forward, and also gives opportunity to visit the progress and that's being made along the LA waterfront. Battleship Iowa, Crafted, just added a brewery, downtown San Pedro and Wilmington shops. So everyone's welcome. Tomorrow, Waves and Wheels at the Port of Los Angeles between the hours of 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Mr. Rue.
Thank you, Mr. President. After that wonderful boat tour, Councilman Buscaino, maybe you could bike back up here tomorrow to City Hall because we have a free concert for the closing of Asian Heritage Month on the steps of City Hall. Doors open at 6. Concert will start at 7. Hopefully, we're inviting all the public. We have a great lineup, and we just have our headliner, Janae Aiko, who will be performing. It will be a great event, and I hope all the council members, we will be having that special invitation for the VIP reception at 5:30 if you could join us, and it will be great. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more announcements? If I could now ask everyone to rise for adjourning motions. If everyone in the council chambers would rise for adjourning motions, I'd like to recognize Mr. Mitch Englander.
Thank you. Colleagues, this is tragic that we're adjourning in somebody whose life was taken in such a manner. Linda Hopkins, who was born and raised in Los Angeles and moved to the San Fernando Valley once she married William Hopkins Jr. on May 31st, 1981. She graduated from Los Angeles City College System and entered the job market at 15 years old. She worked for several decades in the legal world, processing field and creating a substantial inventory of automated word processing routines, and later continued her career as a consultant. She was incredibly giving of her energy and her time, particularly in our local community. MEND, Meet Each Need with Dignity, and the Wild Foundation were both near and dear to her heart. For several years under the library service to shut-in programs, she brought books to those unable to leave their homes. Linda proudly earned her ham amateur radio license in January 2013, and she was a Community Emergency Response Team CERT member trained by our very own Los Angeles Fire Department. She was the assistant to the president of Southern California Preparedness Foundation and organized 2 websites dedicated to much of her time to helping those prepare for disaster. In fact, she volunteered her time to the annual Valley Disaster Preparedness Fair, where she was involved with the monthly emergency preparedness meetings. And on Saturday, May 14th, Linda succumbed to her injury sustained after being struck by a vehicle while jogging in Granada Hills, where she lived since 1985. Services will be private and family only. The family is requesting that in lieu of flowers, cards, or other tangible property, those that wish to honor her memory instead make a donation to your favorite charity or one that the previously mentioned charities on her behalf. She's survived by her husband, William Hopkins, her sister, Elaine, and alongside her cousins, Jay, Barbara, Lynette, Ross, her daughter, Lauren, and her daughters, Lauren and Edie, and her husband, Anthony. On a personal note, I worked very, very closely with her and her husband, Bill, for many years. They've been incredibly active in the community. She was one that she always thought about, are people able to take care of themselves in an emergency? Or for those who on an everyday basis can't get out of the house, is there somebody visiting them and taking care of them? Or she used to bring them mobile, books. She was her own bookmobile. To make sure that it wasn't just about having a book, but a friendly voice and a face to knock on the door and say hello and check in on people. Just always thinking about others. Dedicated her life to always thinking about others. And she worked with us very, very closely on what has now become one of the largest emergency preparation fairs in the San Fernando Valley and in the city of Los Angeles. And she was always very proud of that. And proud of her. It's those people that you come across in life that don't want any recognition, don't want to get in front of the media, don't want to speak out against anybody. They just always want to do the right thing to help others. Right? That was her. And we had heard about the accident, and it wasn't a hit and run. A person stopped to try to render aid, and it was right around the block from my home, and she fought through that, and unfortunately didn't make it. It's a very tragic situation, and she will always be remembered in all of our hearts, and may she rest in peace. Thank her for everything that she's done for all of us. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm continuing to look to the left side, my left side. Now I'm looking to the right side. Nothing on Mr. Weezar's side. Members, this meeting is adjourned.
watching LA City View, Channel 35.
We now join our scheduled program in progress.
As the highly anticipated Metro Line extension to Santa Monica gets ready to